after dealing with neo-Nazis, paedophiles, prostitutes, murderers, and the Westboro Baptist Church, Louis Theroux now turns his attention to his most dangerous, insidious subject yet: vegans. My Scientology Movie is Louis Theroux's first feature-length documentary, so really should be calling it his Scientology Movie, and in that, he turns his attention to the Church of Scientology. Probably much to the dismay of the BBC's legal department. It's of course very well known that the Church of Scientology is mental and full of absolute spanners. We've already had plenty of documentaries discussing that. Just look at Alex Gibney's Going Clear and BBC Panorama's Scientology and Me, with John Sweeney as the most prominent examples. So I wouldn't be surprised if I'm actually being stalked right now. This is one I was excited about, as I do love a good documentary, and Louis Theroux is one of the best documentarians slash publicly known journalists that Britain has. His style of interviewing and broadcasting, combined with the wacky subject matter that he often deals with, means that everything that he puts out is worth watching. In fact, he's so popular that there's even a Twitter account dedicated to taking some of the things that he says completely out of context to hilarious effect. And obviously there's a whole new fresh batch of no context Louis quotes from this, so here are some of my suggestions.
If you saw him across the breakfast table looking at you like that's not, past the mustard. Come back, don't run away. Come back! Stop running away!
For more than a year, Marty was hounded and harassed by the squirrel busters.
Sit down in that chair!
Marty himself had been sent there, and it was only then that he blew.
When you blew, this is the way you came?
Yeah. I consider myself fucked. I don't know what to say now.
I was so interested to see what my Scientology movie would be like, especially to see how Louis' distinctive, goofy style would clash with the Church of Scientology's notoriously guarded and aggressive attitude to outsiders. Louis' style of interviewing is very much like a goofy, innocent kid just poking around, and that style often means that he can get even the toughest nuts to crack and open up to him. He has this great technique that he uses all the time where he asks a really simple question, and then when the person that he's talking to gives their initial answer, he doesn't say anything, he just remains silent. He really owns and harnesses that silence, and he can really see the cogs in the mind of the other person working overtime. Unfortunately though, we rarely get to see Louis' investigative methods applied to church members, as they spend the longest amount of time avoiding him and not engaging with his interview requests or attempts to get a rise out of them. And this is where the film falls down. Because the church won't give him interviews, he's forced to talk exclusively with ex-members who, let's face it, are going to be more than a bit biased. Don't get me wrong, I believe everything they say, but it definitely does feel like a very one-sided take on things. Louis Theroux, to me anyway, isn't like that. Some of his best work has been when he makes you, the audience, see the human side in monsters. When he makes you sympathetic towards some of the most terrible sides of society. Bias is all well and good when you have a very focused, streamlined point that you want to make in your documentary and have a thesis that presents the evidence to support your viewpoint, like in Gibney and Sweeney's work, but my Scientology movie doesn't really have a point. It starts off with a really general Scientology is bad, let's just poke around and see what happens approach, and then as it continues it sort of morphs into a recreation of some of the alleged abuses that go on in the church. So much so that they actually hire people to play people like David Miscavige, the leader of the Church of Scientology. This just didn't work for me, if I'm being honest. Granted, when they act out the abuses it does give you something very clear and visceral to react to, but it does feel a bit gimmicky. They even hired a guy to play Tom Cruise, who, by the way, does actually look so much like him, but they have no use for them, and I wonder if that's a lawyer thing, if that's a legal thing, but he adds nothing to the final recreation. Maybe I got completely the wrong impression, but to me it almost seemed like they were hoping to get more of a reaction out of the church itself, and this was their sort of attempt to get something out of the subject matter. The church does of course do its usual thing and goes absolutely schizo eventually, but the irony in that is that if they had just kept their mouth shut and stayed away this time, Theroux really wouldn't have had much much to report back on. My Scientology movie kind of meanders around without a focus, which is annoying because we do occasionally get glimpses of the more sinister side of things going on within the church. There are really good documentaries in there somewhere about how the church takes advantage of desperate and vulnerable people, such as the actors who sign up and then shell out their life savings thinking it will give them a leg up in the industry, or the systematic condoning and support of David Miscavige, but instead what we get is an engaging and entertaining but ultimately not that educational documentary. I'm going to give my Scientology movie 3 popcorns. Unfortunately, there's not too much to learn from this documentary. Alex Gibney definitely done it better with Going Clear, where he thoroughly dismantled the Church of Scientology. But the appeal of this lies in Louis Theroux himself and his personality and your familiarity with his style. It may not be the most informative or groundbreaking documentary, but it is a must-see for fans of Theroux himself or the subject matter in general. Thanks very much for watching my review of my Scientology movie. If you liked this video, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you're new and you want to see more of my stuff. You can click right here to see my latest reviews, so thank you very much for watching and I'll see you next time.